Hey, what's going on? It's Bill Burr, and it's time for the Monday Morning Podcast for Monday, December 15th, 2025. What's going on now? Yeah. How's it going, man? I hope everything's going good with you. Oh, Billy Freckles. Oh, little Billy, the Christmas miracle. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I haven't lost my shit. I haven't lost my temper in 2 weeks. I'm on the other side of it. I have a journal. I wake up, I do my breathing, I write down what I'm feeling. I'm leaving the door open. I'm gonna have access to all the feelings, so I have options for the first time in my life. Yeah, it's been unreal. Fucking mind-boggling. The amount of shit that I have handled in the last couple of weeks that would have made me lose my mind. And I'm not doing it anymore. Like, I'll tell you something that would have made me lose my mind. Watching the Patriots go up 21-0 against the Buffalo Bills, only to watch the halftime adjustment shut us down in the second half. What was it, 24? It was 24-7 at the half. And it ended up 35-31 as the Bills came roaring back. And I'm still not bothered by it. I still think we have a really, really, great team. I mean, that Henderson kid, good Lord, he's a superstar. Stevenson's been crushing it. We have a really legit running game. We're not fumbling the ball anymore. I don't know. I just think we jumped on them, and then there was just too much time left. They came back. I mean, it was against the Buffalo Bills. What the Bills did yesterday is what they should have been doing all year. So I don't know if they haven't been healthy or whatever. And we already beat them this year, so the odds of beating them twice. We're still like a young team. And, where we were last year versus now, that loss yesterday doesn't bother me. And I thought that we're hanging with the big dogs in the league. Although it took, Jesus, didn't it feel like it took till the end of November for you to start thinking maybe this team's good? I don't know. I was starting to think, hey, all right, Seattle. And then they played the Colts, and then they had a really close game. I mean, how did you not root for Phillip Rivers? I mean, that's unbelievable. I know that he played professional football up until 2020, but to not play it for 5 years and get up off the couch, and you got 10 kids, and you just go out there and start taking hits again and throwing the ball around. That was really impressive. Really impressive. So anyway, yeah, a lot of things to like. Our receiving core, Drake May is great. Our coach is great. Our defense is great. And I like where we're at. I actually think that we are in 2 to 3 years, if they keep making the choices they're making with this crew, that why the hell couldn't we win another one? This is not what I have been thinking since Tom Brady left. So I am thrilled as a Patriots fan, as much as that fucking, for whatever reason, happy Boston sports fans is not what, I don't know. I get it though. I get it. It's just, it's how human beings are. They don't like seeing success unless it's happening to them. Generally speaking, that's how human beings are. So Boston was doing really well in sports. So next thing you know, everybody hates you. I was watching this true crime thing with my lovely wife, lovely wife. And it was about this famous murder that I hadn't, I didn't hear. I forget the names. I should look this up. Yeah, it was Mickey and Trudy Thompson, this amazing couple, and they were just, I don't know, they were just meant for each other, and they were killing it on the racetrack. And then Mickey got into business, and he was killing it. And then there was this other guy. I'm not even going to say his name because fuck that. All right, these fucking mass shooters, they put their faces and names. Fuck all of these. Fuck these people that do bad shit. You should know the victim's name. So fuck the guy that did it. Anyways, he was doing something with like motorcycles, and they tried to get in business together, and Mickey was a good guy. The other piece of shit was a piece of shit, and he wasn't paying people, so Mickey gets out of business with them. And I don't know, things go south, and then this fucking guy, he hires these two guys to go there and fucking, this perfect couple, he hires them to murder the dude's wife in front of him and then kill the husband. It was one of the most brutal things I've ever seen, and it took him forever to get the guy. It was, one of those lighthearted things that women like to watch before bed. I always wanted to, SNL did a sketch about that, how they watch like true crime before they go to bed. And I want to be like, like, Nia, do you ever watch anything settling before you go to bed? Does everything have to be like this level of like, and right after the verdict, they just like drift off to sleep. And I'm just laying there going like, that's one of the worst things I've ever heard of in my life. Anyway, but the world seems to reward people like that. I don't know, it was just a dark weekend. I'll tell you what's fucking wild, though, is the narcissism. First of all, the mental illness that we have had for the last 9 years running this country is really astounding. And I am amazed at people who are so into politics that they just refuse to see it if it's wearing the color tie that they root for. I've seen it on both sides, so I'm not attacking either side, but like, dude, I mean, how you make what happened this weekend, how you politicize it and then make it like these people died because they weren't fans of you as a leader is one of like, that's one of the most narcissistic fucking things ever. And this is the thing that makes me really, I've come back where I'll believe in a higher power if that's what you're into. But like to believe in one that actually cares, like if it's actually a loving entity, why would it create narcissists and mouth-breathing morons? Why would you do that? Like, what would that do for everyone stuck in the middle of that? Because I have to be honest with you, like that fucking comment for me is enough to be like, this person should be removed. And whoever's next in line should be stuck in. The same way, like, just before all you fucking lunatics get all your butt hurt, get your red panties in a bunch. Like when the last guy would be like mid-sentence, the president of the United States, and lose his fucking train of thought, and you'd see the panic. He started wearing like sunglasses so you couldn't fucking trying to hide. Like, I don't understand it. I just don't. At what point, like, what does somebody have to do? In the last 9 years of this shit that I've watched, what does somebody have to do to, like, be deemed not mentally stable enough to run a nation? Evidently, we haven't gotten there yet. And I'll tell you, if we didn't get there with the last guy, if we didn't get there with the fucking last guy, we're never going to get there with this guy. It is just like, I mean, that train of thought is just batshit fucking crazy. I don't know. I don't know. I don't pretend to know how these things fucking work. But so that was, I guess, that was the weekend. That's what happened. And in the middle of all of this, I took one of my kiddos to Disneyland. And I don't think it was one of my favorite days as a dad. I was walking around the park going like, wait, am I a Disney dad? Am I actually enjoying this? And there was so much stuff that, like, I don't know, now that I'm on the other side of this shit, And I'm just saying that because I know there's a lot of angry people that listen to this podcast. It's how you gravitated here. You can get out of it. I don't know. It took me for fucking ever, but there was so much shit that normally would have like pissed me off, and I was able to just glide through it and just see the absurdity of it and laugh at it as opposed to like getting upset. And, you know, I had a blast standing in the lines, fucking, you know, eating the shitty food. Oh my God. I ate I can tell you what to avoid. That pizza place near fucking Space Mountain. Oh my God. It takes a lot to offend me as a stand-up comedian, but the fact that they were calling that pizza, you know, I got a lot of friends, okay? I got a lot of friends who are Italian, all right? And for them to be able to, you know, you might want to pay them a visit. It was like, the pizza was like, it was like two people who didn't know how to cook came together. Like the dough was too like bready and doughy. And then the top, the sauce and the cheese were like one. It wasn't like the cheese pulled away from the sauce. It was like, remember when they used to put peanut butter and jelly in the same jar? It was like the pizza topping version of that. And then somehow they had pepperoni on top of it. And I ate that shit, dude. And I will say the one positive thing that I can say is I didn't eat anything else for the rest of the day. I literally felt like I ate like, I don't know what, like half a crock. It didn't even feel like food. But having said that, I have not been on Space Mountain in 40 years. We took 2 family vacations during my childhood, like back-to-back years. We had never taken one until I was like 14, and we went to like Washington, D.C. Which, looking back, that, you know, I still had a good time. Seeing, you know, like the Lincoln Memorial, the White House. I actually stood outside when we went there, and wait, who was president? It was Reagan. Reagan was president. And Anwar Sadat was making a speech, and this was like months before or a year before he was assassinated. And I remember going to the Smithsonian and all that. And then the next time we went last second. My dad had some business meeting in Florida, and the last second he decided to take us down there and then go to Disneyland and go to that alligator farm, you know, where you walk into the alligator's mouth, that famous one. And we went down there, and I rode Space Mountain, scared the shit out of me. And, I mean, that was high-tech roller coaster, and it was in the dark. And the only thing I had been to at that point was like a carnival, like in the church parking lot. So they had no room for like a real roller coaster. So that was my first one. So I hadn't ridden that thing in like 40 years. And, you know, I got on it with my kiddo, and I had like, I know it's crazy. I don't like fucking roller coasters. Like, I'm one of those people, like, I make weird faces and my stomach drops and I just don't fucking like it. And now that I have like learned like how to breathe from my diaphragm, I actually was like super calm. And as we were going down the first big drop, I just inhaled into my diaphragm and my stomach didn't drop at all. And it was actually kind of enjoyable. And I was like, oh, I was doing the fight or flight in the top of my chest. Like, like I would never go and look at my face, the picture after, because I knew I looked like a fucking lunatic. So, you know, we did all of the rides over there. Space Mountain, Thunder Mountain, all the mountains. One weird one that was like a virtual reality one that made you feel like you were on a roller coaster, but you weren't, which was the dumbest thing ever to me, because it's like, there's actual roller coasters here. Why don't we go on those? If you see if we were like in a state where roller coasters were illegal, so you had to do like a virtual one, and none of it made sense. But I was happy and light the whole day, and my kid, like, I don't know how many times, just randomly was hugging me, saying this was the best day ever. And then we went over to that California Adventures, or whatever the hell it's called, which is basically like walking into the Lightning McQueen movie. The Radiator Springs ride was awesome. That Goofy one was, I don't know about that one. That one looks like it needed some WD-40. That one looked like a death was coming soon on that ride. I must have lost my sunglasses on that one. And then the last one was we went on the Incredicoaster, which I kept calling the Incrediroaster. I don't know why. Incredicoaster. And that was like that was a legit like fucking roller coaster with like a 360 loop and all of that type of stuff. And my kid did great on it. And it was just awesome. The whole day was awesome. And I didn't lose my shit once. I was totally calm. And later on that night, we stayed there. And I got like 40 like random hugs from my kid after, like totally chill. And I'm like, oh my God, I did it. Or I'm doing it, is what I should say. Because I was joking with my wife today where I was saying, like, me not being angry is like, I'm 2 weeks in. I'm like that person that joins a gym January 1st. Like, I'm fucking doing it every day this year, man. And then by February, I'm fucking back to eating cheeseburgers. But I can't go back. So I'm committed to this, man. Anyway, but I'm going down. I'm going to go try to do a spot somewhere tonight because I got Cerritos coming up just northeast of Long Beach, where I learned how to fly. I got a gig coming up down that way, which I'm really excited about. And I got to make sure that, I don't suck. So, and I got all this new material about undoing all of this shit, and it's been fun. And I've had people coming up to me being like, hey, man, thanks for talking about that. So that makes me feel good. By the way, I apologize for the sound here. I can't find my fucking microphone. I know it's around here somewhere. But hopefully by Thursday this week. How'd you guys like that Freddie Spencer interview, huh? How crazy was what that guy accomplished? I was trying to ask him some different questions. My favorite thing when I was asking him, like, what do you dream about? Like as a guy who races motorcycles at the top level, back when you could die at any second. And I just loved his answer. I thought it was going to be like, dreaming of crashing and dying and waking up in cold sweats. And he would dream that, the race was about to start and he couldn't get his racing leathers on. Like the kind of stress dream you would have if you had to do like a presentation in an office. He has the exact same stress dreams, except he's going to ride a motorcycle 200 miles an hour. I really enjoyed talking to him and how excited he still was about riding motorcycles and, potentially teaching me, and how much he likes teaching other people, like his passion for it. One of my favorite things in the world is to meet people my age, a little bit younger or older, that still have like a passion, and want to help out younger people, and they're still into learning and that type of thing. I mean, that's how you stay alive. So it was so awesome. I want to thank him and all his people for getting that thing together to come on the podcast. It was really fucking cool. Anyway, having said that, old Billy Jim Rat, I have almost lost my whole belly. Billy Belly, no more. But I've been so fucking busy. I've been dying to go for a ride or fucking go fly, and I haven't been able to do it, in a good way. I got a little busy with my fucking work this week, but I got to make some time for that. Me and Dean Del Rey want to ride up to Ojai. That's like the next ride we want to do. And like I said, we do surface streets. We go like back roads, and we do it during the week when there's like nobody on the fucking road. And it's been a good time. And they got these new vests you can buy that I'm getting, that they have like a built-in airbag, like the MotoGP shit. And I'm like, and this is another thing too, like with technology, it's like, why isn't that for your whole fuck? Why doesn't it do the legs too? Like, why is it just the torso? They always do that. Like, you know that they have the technology to do the pants too, but they're just going to be like, no, we'll just have them get the vest first, and then we'll have the pants. But the pants will come with the vest, so then they have to buy it again. And they just sit around fucking doing that shit. It's like all this information now that they find out, like this wireless technology with headphones. Surprise, surprise. It's not good for a signal to be beamed from something next to your brain up to outer space and back down to you again. And you know that they knew this from fucking day one, and they just pay people off. It kills me that regular people, we can't somehow focus on these things. Like, I bet there was more people talking about, like, commenting on what the narcissist, how he somehow, like, this is when you know you're a narcissist. When somebody a couple gets brutally murdered by their own son, you somehow figure out a way to shoehorn yourself into that equation so people are talking about you. I mean, it's fucking amazing. It's really amazing. I think narcissists are like influencers in the purest form, where I feel like influencers have to strategize how to get themselves into the zeitgeist or whatever they say, where a narcissist is just natural. They just know what to say to bring the fucking thing around to themselves. By the way, anybody who's a fan of this guy, if you can somehow justify that fucking statement, this has been one of my favorite things the last 9 years, is when I think I'm stating the obvious, like, this guy has mental problems, be it the person on the right or the left. I cannot get somebody who votes either way, like, staunchly, hardcore, to own up. What they usually do is just bring up somebody else. You know, will Obama, will Biden, or will Trump, will Bush. They just do that. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm talking about the guy right in front of us who just said the shit. Like, how does that not concern you? They won't budge. They will not budge. Anyway, my condolences to Rob and Michelle Reiner. Rob Reiner, just an absolute juggernaut of a talent. Whatever side of the camera or writer or whatever he was doing, he just, and for so many decades at just such a high level. And, you know, on All in the Family, which is one of the greatest sitcoms of all time, the Archie Bunker meathead relationship was just, it just was like, it was comedy gold. And I grew up watching that stuff. And I grew up watching his movies, Spinal Tap, you know, When Harry Met Sally, all of these things. And as much as I loved his directing and his writing and everything, I really missed him as an actor, because I just thought he was so naturally funny, and that he was one of those guys who didn't have to try. He could just literally say the line, and it's such a friggin' tragedy. And then, of course, you know, these mass shootings and stuff. I just don't know why they keep showing the face and the name of the shooter. Like, why do you, haven't people way smarter than me figured out that this is why some of these kids do this shit? Why would you keep doing it? It's like, you know why they're doing it, for the money, you know? So then they can turn it into like some sort of fucking Netflix series. It's fucking like you got to give it up to capitalism. Like, I don't give a fuck. Terrorist attack, I don't give a fuck what it is. I don't care how tragic it is. They'll figure out merch, at the very least merch, where a portion of the proceeds goes to help the victims. Yeah, where does the other portion go? Anyway, let's get to the reads for the week. Mizzen in Maine, everybody. How long have you been shopping with them? What items did you recently receive? What's your favorite item? What does it feel like? Why do you love their clothing? Oh, this was all for me. You know what the saying? Okay, this is what they do. They make really comfortable clothing. Mizzen and Main. You know the saying, look good, feel good? The problem is most dress clothes only check one of those boxes. Sure, they look sharp, but they're stiff, hot, high maintenance, which makes it hard to actually feel comfortable. I hate nice clothes because of that. Anything you lean up against, you're like, oh, you know? And then also, if it's like high quality, for some fucking reason, right? Like a sweater or something like that. You lean up against a smooth surface, and when you come off it, somehow you've pulled a thread out, and the whole thing comes undone. It feels like that, right? Hey, let's dress up and go out and get something to eat. You can't do it. That's why I'm such a fan of Mizzen and Main. Let's be honest. Most dress clothes are uncomfortable, high maintenance. I already said this. Imagine this, a crisp, comfortable white dress shirt you can wear every day of the week. Gross. Without constant washes or endless trips to the dry cleaner. That's exactly what Mizzen and Main delivers. Mizzen and Main makes classic menswear with performance fabrics so it's effortless to look sharp and feel great. Mizzen and Main actually invented the performance fabric dress shirt over 10 years ago, and since then, they've perfected it with modern fabrics. Mizzen and Main shirts and pants look refined, yet they're stretchy, lightweight, moisture-wicking, wrinkle-resistant, and completely machine washable. No ironing or dry cleaning. When you put their clothes on, you'll feel the difference instantly. Professional style that's actually comfortable, whether you're in the office, on the road, or even out on the golf course. It's timeless style you can invest in once and enjoy for years. That's why thousands of guys swear by Mizzen and Main. It's a great name, by the way. When they want to look great without the hassle, man. Right now, Mizzen and Main is offering our listeners 20% off your first purchase at mizzenandmain.com, promo code BURR20. That's Mizzen, spelled M-I-Z-Z-E-N, and Main, M-A-I-N.com, promo code BURR20 for 20% off. Mizzenandmain.com, promo code BURR20. All right, who's next? Who are you? Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, wait. And if you'd rather shop in person, you can find Mizzen and Main stores in selected states. Okay. The next one. Simply Safe. You know, if you could stop somebody from breaking in before they got inside, why wouldn't you? Most old school systems go after someone's already in your place. That's too late. Simply Safe is different. It's proactive with a double layer of defense that stops crimes before they start. First, AI-powered cameras spot potential threats outside. Then live agents step in, talking to the person through the camera. You don't want to do this, man! Letting them know they're on video and police will be dispatched if they don't leave. They can even trigger a loud siren or spotlight. That's how you help to stop a crime before it starts. There are no long-term contracts or hidden fees you can cancel anytime. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years running. 60-day money-back guarantee so you can try it and see the difference for yourself. This month, well, what the fuck? What if nobody breaks into your house after 60 days? What do? You go out to a bar and start talking really loudly about the gold bars you have in your basement? To try and get someone to break in so you can try it out. This month only, take 50% off any new system. 50% off any new system. This is one of the best prices you will ever see for Simply Safe. Don't miss it. Hit simplysafe.com/Burr, B-U-R-R. Again, that's simplysafe.com/Burr, and lock in your discount. There's no safe like Simply Safe. All right. Oh, last one. Here we go. Robinhood. What if I told you? What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can't put your sports IQ to work in real time with now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood Predictions Market. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. This is like stock trading against sports betting. Robinhood prediction markets change the game. It's people moving the action. So when the momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Is that supposed to be me? Now I can take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator, play by play. You decide. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have no idea what the fuck I just read. Like, wait a minute. I'm on the sidelines. Now I'm actually making decisions on what? The game? Is that why Pete Carroll did what he did a few weeks ago? Or is that because somebody fucking said, I need you to cover? I don't know. Original idea for natural born killers. By the way, I watched this movie last week, and I was saying, I hadn't seen it since it came out, and having rewatched it, I realized that it's a romantic comedy with just a high body count. It's actually, I feel like initially this movie was offered to Hugh Grant. He turned it down, and then when they got, Juliette Lewis and Woody Harrelson, they go, all right, let's change the tone of this. But let's keep the love story, because America loves a happy ending. All right, Dear Bill the Buddha Burr, you recently talked about rewatching Natural Born Killers and how the social commentary on media exploitation of violence is plaguing our society. Why do I always do that? Hang on a second. I got to scroll back down again. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Quentin wrote that script as the first half of a screenplay called The Open Road. But his agent convinced him to split it into two. The second half became True Romance. I did not know that. He was forced to sell both scripts to fund Reservoir Dogs. So he never got to execute his vision of the movie, which was completely different from what Oliver Stone did. I do remember Quentin Tarantino getting into a physical altercation with somebody connected with True Romance. I mean, they're all great movies. I mean, I watch any of those movies. Think I give a fuck? He was for blah, 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 blah. Okay, so he never got to execute his vision of the movie, which was completely different from what Oliver Stone did. Natural Born Killers was not supposed to be a satire or social commentary. It was supposed to be a traditional love story, but with the couple expressing their love in a very non-traditional way, i.e. murder. Tarantino was so unhappy with what Stone did to the script that he actually removed his name as a writing credit. Dude, that's why Tarantino he's got balls. No one knew who the fuck he was, and he took his name off a script that Oliver Stone was doing before Reservoir Dogs came out. That's amazing. He just knew. He knew where he was going. He knew what he was fucking doing. Anyway, if you watch True Romance, that film stuck closer to what he intended for both films, and he has publicly expressed praise for Tony Scott's direction. Oh, so maybe I had it backwards. Anyways, hope all is well with you and the family. You should come up to Fairbanks, Alaska to perform. It was minus 32 degrees outside yesterday. Ha ha, all the best and go fuck yourself. I've only been to Alaska once, and I was there, my God, I was probably 30 years old. I almost haven't been there in 30 years. All right, you know what? I just hit pause because I was trying to find that story from way back in the day with Tarantino. I swear to God, I thought he at least got into an argument. He yelled at somebody about them fucking up his script, if I remember correctly, which I probably don't, knowing me. Anyway, any more like backstories you guys have on like bands or movies or sports? I love all of that shit. Oh, by the way, me and my lovely wife were out to breakfast this morning. My favorite thing in the world to do with my favorite person in the world. And sorry, my stomach is growling. I'm trying to lose weight. Remember that George Carlin bit when you were like, your stomach's growling, and it was saying things like, we're poor. Anyway, we went to go pay the check, and they said the check was picked up by the guys in the band Explosions in the Sky. So I've never met them. And they did it like they just did it and left. Like fucking James Bond style. Beyond cool. So thank you to the guys in the band from me and my wife. That was super fucking nice. And I didn't get a chance to thank you like the fucking Lone Ranger. So I got to do it on the podcast. You know, fucking classy people there. All right. Sold my business and lost my friends. Oh, by the way, any backstories you guys have on these that type of stuff? I love hearing. I don't know what it, because I love all of those things. So knowing any sort of more information about, like, you know, what actually happened, like, who's that guy? Now you know the rest of the story. Way back in the day on the news. We did a parody of that on F is for Family. What was that guy's name who actually... Phil Henry would do it on the show, but like the actual guy. He would start talking about a big historical event on the radio, and then he would go into the backstory of the whole fucking thing, and then he would end it and tie the whole thing together. And then, like, his catchphrase at the end was, and now you know the rest of the story. And what was great was there was no internet, so there was no way to fact check what he was saying. So then everyone would sit around and try to figure out, like, there was believers and non-believers of this guy, thinking that he was either just making this shit up. Because it was kind of like, how the fuck did you find this out? Like, what bar are you hanging out in? Anyway, sold my business and lost friends. Dear Billy Boobhead, I started a company at the age of 24 with $15,000. I earned this money on my own. Oh, a self-made man or woman. I love it. I love it. While living at home and paying student loans. Smart kid. I didn't go to the best school I was admitted to. I worked part-time jobs during school and after. I worked at a car wash in the summer, and I did maintenance work for the city in the winter. Dude, this is exactly what I did. I worked my way through college, student loans and all of that shit, and then lived at home, paid it off, and got on with my life. The company grew slowly, and after 18 years, I sold the company to spend more time with my family. Love that. I missed birthdays and baseball games because I needed to be present for things to operate. The sum of money I received for the sale is significant. I'll still be doing consulting and probably get a part-time job somewhere to keep busy. But most importantly, I'll be able to have a greater presence in my kids' lives. All sounds great, right? 100% it does. Well, it comes to my attention that several friends of ours thinks that selling my business was a decision made out of greed. Hey, welcome to the world of success, sir or ma'am. Yeah, they're just fucking cunts. You know, you want to find out if you have friends or not, be successful. Be successful, and then you'll find out who your friends are. And then what's funny is they'll say, you changed. You know, that's the one thing I tell younger comics. I tell them, I go, you know, like, 'cause I could have been a manager. I'll see somebody young in their career, and I see it. I'm like, this person is fucking great, and they're going to do great things and sell a bunch of tickets. And I always tell them, you know, get a great lawyer. And then secondly, know this, that when you get there, you're going to lose a few friends. Like, a few of your friends are not going to be able to be around you because they're going to view what you're now doing not as like, well, I'm going to be doing that. They view, well, you're doing it and I'm not, so that means I'm a failure. And then they can't fucking be around you. And then they project it onto you and say that you're somehow different. So I'm assuming that this is what happened. They're just jealous that you fucking started a business and you sold it, and now you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, that's what they want to be able to do. They should be asking you how you did that. Anyway, comes to my attention that several friends of ours think that selling my business was a decision made out of greed and that I'm going to turn into a capitalist hack. Oh, God, what do you live in, Portland, Oregon? These friends and I have never seen eye to eye on politics, but in this case, I'm not sure politics has anything to do with anything. The main criticism is that the family I sold my business to is likely to lay off a few employees. That is, that out of 65 people I've employed over a decade, 2 or 3 part-time employees may lose their position. None of this is certain, just speculation. The main reason being that the family that I sold my business, the family, he keeps saying family that I sold. He didn't sell it to a business entity. I evidently sell it to a family because twice he's capitalized every letter in family. Is not in need of bookkeepers because they currently have their own. They intend to run the business just like I did, and I know this because I vetted their business carefully when deciding to sell to them. I owe none of these friends an explanation despite being able to back up my decision with moral justification. I'm thinking of just telling them all to fuck off. Keep in mind, these friends all work for larger companies and have had paid holidays, matched 401ks, and hefty salaries. Yeah, these are garbage people. Not only is my business none of their business, they're not even correct in their criticism. Hey, guess who knows what that's like? Guess who knows what the fuck they had? Let me guess, they created their own narrative and they weren't even fucking there and they don't have access to any of the information, and rather than just asking you about their concerns, yeah, gee, what is that like? Dude, I don't give a fuck what business you're in. This is how it goes down. I take umbrage with the idea that capitalizing on my hard work somehow makes me a destructive person. And these friends have jumped from company to company, chasing higher salaries and signing bonuses. One of these friends was laid off due to an AI initiative which saw their company pivot from one area of tech to another. None of this ever had me criticizing them. I truly hate to say this, but it's just envy that I had success. Yeah. I mean, just hearing your side of the story, but if this is, in fact, how it went down, that's exactly what it is. Person goes on to say, I really don't want to associate with these people anymore, so don't. Some are neighbors and some are parents of my children's friends. How would you handle this? Would you acknowledge that you heard their shit talking, or would you just smile and enjoy your new life? I would definitely smile and enjoy my new life, but I don't think it's bad to acknowledge how you heard about their shit talking. Now, to acknowledge how you heard about their shit talking, like the way I did it right up into a month ago, like I had 2 confrontations, one before my sort of awakening and one after. And the one before didn't go as bad as how I usually would do it when I was really angry, but it got heated. And I said things to the person because I wanted to hurt him back, you know? And then after my bullshit, I was able to convey that this person did something that hurt me. And I was able to kind of do it in a very matter-of-fact but light and silly way that actually had the other person sort of, you know, at ease. Sorry, turning on the heat here. At ease with it. And the person was able to apologize and I was able to accept it. So having learned that, what I would do with these people is just say, you know, can I talk to you for a second? It's come to my attention that that possibly the fact that I sold my company has rubbed you the wrong way. Is there any truth to that? That's how you go about it. You don't go, hey, I heard you've been fucking talking shit about me, you fucking piece of shit. By the way, I always thought your wife was ugly. That's not how you go in. That's not how you drop in. I mean, you could do that, but we all know how that's going to end. Yeah, if you keep your cool, you don't drop any F-bombs, and you just, in a matter-of-fact way, it's been called to my attention that you might have some concerns about the way I sold my company. Is there any truth to that? And let them explain themselves. At that point, you don't have to talk anymore, and then you can enjoy watching them squirm. And then what you do is you don't cut them out of your life. That's just a lot of energy. And by cutting them out of their life, I mean, like, if they're neighbors of yours, you can still say hello. You can be cordial. But, like, hey, they invite you over to the game. You're like, yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you, though. I appreciate the invite. And they'll figure it out after a while, but just always be nice and always say hello. And, if they're adults, they'll, in their head, be like, you know what? He doesn't want to hang with me anymore because I talk shit and I fuck the relationship up. That's what an adult does. What most people do who think they're adults will then just create some sort of narrative in their fucking head that you're the dick. This is a great story for everybody who's on the podcast to listen to, because this is, this is what happens. If you just go hit a fucking scratch ticket, and you'll someone in your life that you thought was cool will have something to say about it. And most likely they're projecting. That's something else that I learned, that I am a projecting motherfucker. I had no idea. Like, I literally had no idea, and I was really sensitive. And if anybody said anything, I just played out a scenario from my child. Well, if this fucking person did that, I don't even know this person did that. I would just fucking worst case possible scenario. And I was doing it all the time. And then it was like it happened. And then I was walking around talking to myself like a crazy person in the street about what I was going to say when this person did this thing that they didn't even fucking do. Insane. So I've been on both sides of this. When I was a young comic, I definitely was envious and jealous of a couple of comedians, and I hated that feeling, and I thought I didn't like them, but what it was is I didn't like that I wasn't confident. And that was, fortunately, that was only it was during the first 6 to 8 years that I did stand up, and it probably didn't come on until my third year. So it lasted about 4 years. And then once I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to say what I want to say. And I just sort of focused on what I was doing. All of that shit kind of went away. But, so I don't know. Anyway, I'm congratulations. You started a business. It was successful. You employed people. And now you're a dad, and you understand that that's the most important job you're ever going to hold, and you're focusing on it. And if somebody has a problem with that, that's their problem. And yeah, but you should definitely smile and enjoy your life. But I would say something to those people, because if you just stop talking to them, then they'll be able to make you out to be the dick. Now, if you don't care that they do that, which wouldn't surprise me, because of the way they're treating you, then do that. But if, you want to, I don't know, it's kind of fun to approach somebody like that. A very calm way to be like, it's your fucking problem, man. All right. Courtroom strangers, spectators. Oh, I talked about this. I was talking about how that before they had this true crime, I still think that they did this. I noticed, the one time I had to go to court, get arraigned, and then plea and do all of that shit, that there was these random people, old people. There was this woman doing needlepoint, and it was in the summertime. I remember in the middle of admitting to being guilty for drinking and driving, she caught my eye, and I was just sort of looking at her like, she's literally here for the air conditioning and the fucking entertainment of this, Because that was, it was way back in the 80s where it's, air conditioning was still a luxury. Central air, you were fucking, if you just had money for a window unit and you had it in your master bedroom, and all your kids could fucking sweat it out like they fucking, embezzled from a company down the hall. All right, courtroom strangers, spectators. Hey, Billy Courtroom Balls. You were talking about being in court, seeing old people you didn't know back in the day watching your court hearing. This person says, I've been watching a lot of ancient history content and listening to the History of Rome podcast because I'm not smart enough to actually read papers and things like that. Hey, right back at you. Apparently, back in ancient Roman times, people in the city would go to watch cases for entertainment. Yeah, it's kind of like the first dramas on television, like before television. This person goes on to say, as people tried to sue each other or whatever bullshit that was going on at the time or whatever one person did to the other to piss them off. Okay, those are the cases they were watching. Also, they had sort of a patron system in the city where if you had more money than somebody else in your neighborhood, you might be making your rounds around the neighborhood, and Johnny from down the street would be like, hey, Billy Rich dude, you got $1 for a friend? And you'd be like, sure, Johnny, you're a pretty cool dude. Then you would walk down the neighborhood and see somebody richer than you, and you'd be like, hey, Maximus, you got a 20 you could spare? And they'd be like, sure, Billy, broker than me. You're a pretty funny guy. A patron system. That's pretty interesting. So a lot of the same shit that goes on today was the same 2,000 years ago, except for whatever reasons, musicians, actors, comedians were considered the lowest of the low scum. Well, I mean, I think a lot of people still think that. I don't know why, but apparently that's how it was, which would include me as a former musician. Well, they were probably getting the girls, the musicians. I can see why, and actors too. Comedians still have to work because for whatever reason, like a musician, they don't want you to keep playing your song. But with comedians, they want you to be like funny every 8 seconds. Anyway, this person goes on to say, this is apparently why Nero got such a bad name because he wanted to be a rock star. I don't know who Nero is. I'm not up on my Shakespeare. Love the podcast and go fuck yourself, comedian scum. Thanks for the laughs. All right, I got to look up Nero now. Hang on a second. Okay, I think we're actually going to learn something. Here's a name for you. Nero Claudius Caesar Augustus Germanicus. Born Lucius Domitius Arrhabaeus. Wait, was he Greek and then, I don't know, Roman emperor? Why does that seem like a Greek? Germanicus? Was a Roman emperor and the final emperor of the Julio-Claudian dynasty. Oh, was he the last one? Reigning from AD 54 until his death, AD 68. AD 68. He literally died 1,900 years before me. Oh my God, I hated this part of history. Almost as much as ancient medieval history. All right, Nero was born. Okay. By the time Nero turned 11, his mother married Emperor Claudius, who then adopted Nero as his heir. Upon Claudius' death in AD 54, Nero ascended to the throne with the backing of blah, 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 blah. In the early years of his reign, Nero was advised and guided by his mother, Agrippina, his tutors, Seneca, and his patron perfect Sextus Ephraenius Burrus, but sought to rule independently and rid himself of the restraining influences. Jesus Christ, you got the fucking Cliff Notes? Early life, military pursuits. Nero studied poetry, music, painting, and sculpture. Wow, see, he was an artist. He took over the family business. He both sang and played the cithara. I don't even know what that is. Is that one of those little fucking harps you skip around with your fucking toga on? Many of these disciplines were standard education for the Roman elite. Oh, all right. But Nero's devotion to music exceeded what was socially acceptable for the Roman of his class. Ancient sources were critical of Nero's emphasis on the arts, chariot racing, and athletics. This guy was the man. This other douche described Nero as an actor emperor. Oh, I remember why. Because there was a thing back then where if you were an actor, you were not allowed to run for political office because it was the belief that you were so good at acting that you could pretend like you were a better person than you were. People people didn't realize at that point in time that most people have the ability to act like they're a better person than they really are. Anyway, all right. I don't know what else to talk about. That is the podcast. I'm going to watch a little Monday Night Football. I apologize for it being late today. I just got caught up in some family stuff. But thank you to everybody that bought some tickets down there in Cerritos. I'm going to get my ass on stage every night this week before this gig because I'm honing in some, like the first 15 minutes of new shit that I got on the happy side of the album as opposed to the dark side of the moon shit that I got the rest of the act. So there's going to be something for everybody. There's going to be a little bit of hope and there's going to be a lot of darkness, but we'll see. We'll see how this whole thing plays out. But we're coming to the end of the football season, and I like my Patriots' chances. I think that we could, I don't know. Maybe we could win a playoff game and get to the AFC Championship. Who knows? Anything can happen. But I don't judge anybody by their record. Like, I know we have a better record than the Bills, but if they're hitting their stride at the right time, I mean, they've been knocking on the door for like 5 fucking years, it seems. And I think they got as good a chance as anybody. The Chiefs are completely out of it. Oh, my God, I didn't even realize Patrick Mahomes blew out his ACL. Condolences to him and Chiefs fans. As much as I've fucking bitched about the officiating during some of those games, I obviously never want to see that happen. So I wish him a speedy recovery. If any season it was going to happen, it might as well be this one where they're knocked out of the playoffs, so he has plenty of time to recover, and he'll come back good as new. Tom Brady had the same injury, and he went on to win 4 more Super Bowls. So Chiefs fans, you're going to be all right. All right. See, how about that? That's not bad coming from a Patriots fan. All right, that is it. That is the podcast. Go fuck yourselves, and I will check in on you on Thursday.